Have you ever felt like someone in your life was twisting reality, making you question your own thoughts, emotions, and even your sanity? Maybe you've walked away from a conversation feeling drained, confused, or somehow responsible for something you know wasn't your fault. This is no accident. It's a calculated strategy, one that narcissists use to manipulate, control, and dominate. Narcissists are masters of deception, and their greatest weapon is not physical strength, but words. They use specific phrases repeatedly, strategically, to shift blame, distort reality, and keep you under their influence. The more you hear them, the more doubt creeps into your mind, eroding your confidence and sense of self. But once you recognize these patterns, you take away their power. That's exactly what we're going to do today. Take a moment and do these 3 things. Hit the subscribe button to help spread God's word. Click the like button as an act of faith and leave the number 12 in the comments. This number is more than just a figure. It's a powerful symbol of divine authority and God's chosen people. The number 12 represents God's people and his divine governance. From the 12 tribes of Israel to the 12 apostles of Jesus, it signifies the foundation of his kingdom on earth. Even in the book of Revelation, the number 12 appears repeatedly, such as in the 12 gates of the New Jerusalem. By leaving the number 12, you are declaring your place in God's plan and your willingness to walk in his divine purpose. Stay until the end. If you feel called by God, this message is meant for you. Watching to the end is not just a simple act. It's a testimony of your faith, loyalty, and readiness to be a part of his kingdom. Let the number 12 in the comments be your bold declaration that you are aligned with God's divine power and eternal purpose. Your journey in his kingdom begins now. I don't want to make this about me, but... If you've ever heard this phrase, you might have thought, well, at least they're being self-aware. But the truth is, this is one of the most deceptive tricks in a narcissist's playbook. It's a setup, an illusion of humility that allows them to take over the conversation while pretending they don't want to. They know that outright interrupting and redirecting would be too obvious. So instead, they use this phrase to slip in their dominance without resistance. Imagine this. You're sharing an important moment in your life. Perhaps you've been struggling, or maybe you finally accomplished something you've worked hard for. You barely get the words out before the narcissist cuts in. I don't want to make this about me, but something similar happened to me. And suddenly the conversation shifts. Now it's about their challenges, their victories, their suffering. Your moment? Gone. The attention? Theirs. Why do they do this? Because narcissists cannot stand being in the background. They melt when they aren't the center of attention. Even when the topic has nothing to do with them, your family issue, your job, your experiences, they find a way to redirect the spotlight. Look at me. I know I'm not supposed to make this about me, and yet here they are, making it about them. The Bible warns us about those who seek their own glory instead of considering others. Do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit. Rather, in humility, value others above yourselves. Philippians 2, verse 3. A narcissist does the opposite. Their false humility is a mask for selfishness. They posture as self-aware, but their words expose their heart. C.S. Lewis put it perfectly. Humility is not thinking less of yourself, but thinking of yourself less. A truly humble person listens, acknowledges others, and genuinely cares. A narcissist, on the other hand, only listens long enough to find an opening to bring the conversation back to themselves. So how do you respond? Don't fall into their trap. If you notice this pattern, keep your boundaries firm. You don't have to compete for attention or allow them to overshadow your voice. Recognize the manipulation and disengage. Because at the end of the day, it was never about them. But they'll do everything in their power to make sure it is. I'm sorry you feel that way. At first glance, this might sound like an apology, but if you've ever received this response from someone after confronting them about their hurtful behavior, you know exactly how hollow it feels. That's because it's not an apology at all. It's a manipulation tactic disguised as one. Instead of taking responsibility for their actions, the narcissist subtly shifts the blame onto you. A real apology acknowledges wrongdoing. I'm sorry for what I did. I was wrong. I'll do better. But when a narcissist says, I'm sorry you feel that way, They aren't apologizing for their behavior. They are implying that the real problem isn't what they did, it's how you reacted. It's a way to dismiss your feelings and invalidate your pain. They're essentially saying, your emotions are the issue, not my actions. Imagine confronting a narcissistic partner who repeatedly disrespects you. You tell them, it really hurt me when you spoke to me that way in front of everyone. Instead of apologizing, they smirk and say, I'm sorry you feel that way. Now, instead of the focus being on their hurtful words, the conversation shifts to your emotions. Are you too sensitive? Are you overreacting? Suddenly you're defending your feelings rather than holding them accountable. This is classic gaslighting. It makes you question your own emotions and reality. Over time, it erodes your self-worth. You start wondering if you're too sensitive, too emotional, or just imagining things. But let me be clear, you're not. The Bible warns us about this kind of deceitful speech. The heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. Who can know it? Jeremiah 17 verse 9. A narcissist's heart is ruled by pride, not humility. They refuse to see their faults, so they twist words to make themselves appear innocent and make you seem unreasonable. C.S. Lewis once said, a man does not call a line crooked unless he has some idea of a straight line. This is why it's crucial to know what a true apology looks like. Genuine remorse is about taking ownership, making amends, and changing behavior. A narcissist, however, will never do that. Their pride won't allow it. So how do you respond when a narcissist hits you with, I'm sorry you feel that way? First, recognize it for what it is, manipulation. Do not let them redirect the conversation to your emotions. Instead, stay firm. This isn't about how I feel. It's about what you did. Refuse to let them twist the narrative. Most importantly, understand that a narcissist will never give you the accountability you seek. Expecting a real apology from them is like expecting a wolf to turn into a sheep. Instead, protect your peace, set firm boundaries, and remember the truth. The problem isn't your feelings. The problem is their refusal to take responsibility. Why are you doing this to me? It's a simple question, but when a narcissist says it, it's never innocent. It's a calculated move, one that instantly flips the script and makes them the victim. No matter what's actually happening, they manage to make it all about their suffering, their struggles, and their pain. And before you even realize it, you're the bad guy. Imagine this. You finally work up the courage to confront a narcissistic friend, partner, or family member about something hurtful they did. Maybe you say, I felt really disrespected when you spoke to me like that. A normal, emotionally mature person might say, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to hurt you. But not a narcissist. Instead, they respond with, why are you doing this to me? Why are you attacking me? Suddenly, you're on the defensive. Instead of addressing their bad behavior, you're now comforting them, explaining that you weren't trying to hurt them, that you didn't mean to upset them. The original issue, the one they caused, is completely forgotten. This is exactly what they want. Narcissists are masters at playing the victim, even when they are the ones at fault. Their goal is to make you feel guilty for simply holding them accountable. They turn simple requests, can we talk about what happened, into full-blown accusations against you. Why are you trying to ruin my day? Why do you always have to start a fight? The Bible warns us about those who twist reality to serve their own selfish purposes. They delight in lies, they bless with their mouth, but they curse inwardly. Psalm 62:4. A narcissist's words may sound like they're in pain, but their true intention is manipulation. They want to avoid responsibility at all costs, and the easiest way to do that? Make you feel like the aggressor. C.S. Lewis once said, of all tyrannies, a tyranny sincerely exercised for the good of its victims may be the most oppressive. Narcissists will convince you that they are the ones being wronged, and the more you care, the more they'll use your empathy against you. So how do you respond? Do not take the bait. Instead of justifying yourself or explaining your feelings, hold firm. Say something like, this isn't about you being hurt, this is about the issue we need to address. Keep the focus where it belongs. Most importantly, recognize this for what it is, emotional manipulation. A narcissist will always try to dodge accountability, but you don't have to play their game. Don't let their false victimhood pull you in. Stand in the truth, set boundaries, and remember, the person causing harm doesn't get to decide they're the victim. I just don't have time for this. Simple, dismissive, and devastating. When a narcissist says this, they aren't just brushing off a conversation. They're making it clear that you and your feelings are not worth their time. This phrase is their way of shutting you down, avoiding responsibility, and reinforcing their sense of superiority. Imagine you bring up something important. Maybe you express how their actions have hurt you, or try to discuss an issue that needs resolving. Instead of engaging, they wave you off. I just don't have time for this. The message: you're not important enough for me to listen to. And just like that, the conversation is over. Narcissists believe they are above dealing with emotions, accountability, or anything that doesn't serve their immediate interests. They genuinely see themselves as busier, more important, and more valuable than you. In their mind, your concerns are trivial. But here's the truth. No one is too busy to treat others with kindness and respect. A decent person, even if they genuinely don't have time in the moment, will say, "I want to hear you out, but I need to get through this first. Can we talk later?" A narcissist, on the other hand, uses this phrase to shut down the conversation permanently. The Bible warns us about people like this. Do you see a person wise in their own eyes? There is more hope for a fool than for them. Proverbs 26:12. The narcissist's arrogance convinces them that their time is too precious to spend on anyone else's needs. They see compassion and understanding as a waste, unless, of course, they are the ones receiving it. C.S. Lewis said it best. Pride is spiritual cancer. It eats up the very possibility of love or contentment or even common sense. A narcissist's pride won't allow them to acknowledge your feelings because that would mean admitting they might be wrong, and to them that's unthinkable. So how do you handle this? Recognize their words for what they are, an attempt to dismiss and control you. Don't chase them for validation. Instead, say something like, "This conversation matters. If you don't have time now, let me know when you do. But ignoring this won't make it go away." Set firm boundaries. If they keep dismissing you, take it as a sign. This is not a person who values you. You don't need to beg for respect. Walk away knowing your worth. I hope you know who you're messing with. When a narcissist utters this phrase, it's not just a warning, it's a threat. These words are meant to instill fear, assert dominance, and remind you that they hold the power. Whether spoken with a smirk, a cold stare, or even in a seemingly casual tone, the message is clear. You better back down, or you'll regret it. This phrase is a hallmark of malignant narcissism, a more aggressive and dangerous form of narcissistic behavior. It's used to intimidate, control, and silence anyone who dares to challenge them. They want you to feel helpless, to doubt yourself, and most of all, to submit to their authority. Imagine you stand up to a narcissistic boss, confronting them about unethical behavior. Instead of addressing your concerns, they lean in, lower their voice, and say, "I hope you know who you're messing with." Instantly, a chill runs through you. You realize they aren't going to argue, they're going to retaliate. Maybe they'll smear your reputation, sabotage your work, or make your life miserable in ways you can't predict. And that's exactly the reaction they want. Narcissists thrive on fear because fear keeps people under their control. They want you to second-guess yourself, to be afraid of speaking up again, to submit without resistance. It's a psychological power move, designed to make you feel like you're playing a game you can't win. The Bible speaks directly about this kind of evil intimidation. The wicked flee when no one pursues, but the righteous are bold as a lion. Proverbs 28 verse 1. Fear is the enemy's greatest weapon, but God did not create us to live in fear. When a narcissist tries to use intimidation against you, remember that their power is an illusion, one built on deception, arrogance, and manipulation. C.S. Lewis put it this way: courage is not simply one of the virtues, but the form of every virtue at the testing point. When a narcissist tries to make you cower, stand firm. Fear only works when you let it control you. So how do you respond? First, stay calm. Narcissists feed off reaction, so don't give them one. Instead, say something neutral like, "I'm not interested in playing games." This shows them that their intimidation isn't working. Second, document everything. If this happens at work, in a legal setting, or anywhere serious, keep records. Narcissists will often deny ever making a threat if they're confronted later. Third, seek support. You don't have to handle this alone. Talk to trusted friends, mentors, or legal advisors if necessary. Narcissists gain power when they isolate you, so don't let them. Finally, remember who holds true power. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? Psalm 27:1. A narcissist may try to act like they're in control, but their threats are nothing compared to the power of God. Stand firm, set your boundaries, and never let fear dictate your life. It's not fair. These 3 words might sound like something a child says when they don't get their way, but when a narcissist says it, it's not about fairness at all. It's about entitlement. Narcissists believe they deserve special treatment. They think the rules that apply to everyone else shouldn't apply to them. When life doesn't go exactly as they want, they react not with maturity, but with outrage. Their mindset is simple. If I'm not winning, the game must be rigged. Imagine you get a well-earned promotion at work, and instead of congratulating you, a narcissistic coworker scoffs and says, "This isn't fair, I've been here longer." Never mind that you worked harder, put in the effort, and deserved the position. To them, fairness isn't about merit, it's about whether they got what they wanted. This behavior often starts in childhood and carries into adulthood. They see life as a competition, and if someone else succeeds, they see it as a personal attack. Instead of recognizing that others are blessed because of their hard work or God's plan, narcissists believe any good thing that happens to someone else should have been theirs. The Bible warns us about this attitude. For where jealousy and selfish ambition exist, there will be disorder and every vile practice. James 3 verse 16. Narcissists are fueled by envy. They don't just want success, they want others to fail. Their self-worth is built on feeling superior, so when someone else shines, they feel personally offended. C.S. Lewis put it best. Pride gets no pleasure out of having something, only out of having more of it than the next man. A narcissist isn't just upset that life isn't going their way, they're upset that someone else is winning. So how do they use "it's not fair" to manipulate others? 1. To gain sympathy. They act like a victim so others will comfort them. 2. To avoid responsibility. Instead of fixing their mistakes, they blame circumstances. 3. To guilt trip you. If you succeed, they make you feel like you stole something from them. How do you respond? Don't engage. A narcissist wants you to validate their feelings of injustice. Instead, hold your ground. Say something like, "Life isn't about fairness, it's about responsibility and gratitude." This stops them from dragging you into their pity party. Most importantly, recognize that their perception of fairness is distorted. What they really mean is, "I didn't get my way." But you are not responsible for making life fair for them. God is just, and he sees all things. The Lord is a God of justice. Blessed are all who wait for him. Isaiah 30:18. You don't need to waste time proving fairness to a narcissist. Live with integrity, trust in God's plan, and let them deal with their own entitlement. Narcissists are masters of manipulation, and their words are some of the most powerful tools they use to control, confuse, and gaslight the people around them. Now that you recognize these 6 common phrases, "I don't want to make this about me, but," "I'm sorry you feel that way," "Why are you doing this to me?" "I just don't have time for this." I hope you know who you're messing with, and it's not fair. You are no longer an easy target. You see their tactics for what they really are: deception, deflection, and manipulation. But awareness is just the first step. Now it's time to take action. Do not let their words shake you. Stand firm in your truth. Remember that you do not need their validation, their approval, or their false apologies. You are not responsible for managing their emotions or fixing their distorted perception of reality. Instead, trust in God's wisdom. The Lord is my strength and my shield. In him my heart trusts. Psalm 28 verse 7. You are called to live in truth, not in the web of lies that narcissists weave. Keep your boundaries strong and surround yourself with people who reflect God's love, not those who seek to drain you with their selfishness. And before you go, take a moment to do these 3 things. Hit the subscribe button to help spread God's word, click the like button as an act of faith, and leave the number 12 in the comments. The number 12 represents divine authority, God's governance and his chosen people. By commenting, you are declaring your faith and alignment with his purpose. Your journey toward freedom starts today. You are not alone. You are not powerless. And with God by your side, no narcissist can ever control you again.